All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I am Meenakshi Sant and with me is Sunil Verma. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to lay foundation stone of permanent campus of IIM Sambalpur in Odisha this morning. Nationwide dry run for COVID-19 vaccination to be conducted today. COVID-19 recovery rate improved to 96.08% in the country. Centre extends disability compensation to all serving employees if they get disabled in the line of duty. GST collections touch all-time high of over 1 lakh crore rupees in December. And government decides to resume flights between India and UK from the 8th of January. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask. Maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing. Focus on hand and face hygiene. And now, the news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lay the foundation stone of the permanent campus of IIM Sambalpur in Odisha at 11 a.m. today through video conferencing. Odisha Governor Professor Ganeshi Lal, Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik, Union Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank, Union Ministers Dharmendra Pradhan and Pratap Chandra Sarangi will be present on the occasion. The ceremony will be virtually attended by over 5,000 invitees, including officials, industry leaders, academicians and students, alumni and faculty of IIM Sambalpur. IIM Sambalpur is the first IIM to implement the idea of flipped classroom, where the basic concepts are learned in digital mode and experiential learning takes place in the class through live projects from the industry. The institute also outscored all other IIMs in terms of highest gender diversity, with 49% girl students in MBA 2019-21 batch and 43% in MBA 2020-22 batch. Odisha government has provided 200 acres of land for the construction of the proposed campus. The Ministry of Education has extended administrative support and granted financial aid of over 400 crore rupees for the project. More from our Odisha correspondent.
The permanent campus will add more teeth to the Management Institute to deliver the desired academic result. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in a tweet has already said that India is proud of the rich contributions of IIMs to national progress. Union Minister Pratap Chandra Sarangi, who will also be present on the occasion, has said that the permanent campus of IIM Sambalpur will create a positive impact in Odisha through its outstanding project-based courses. Stating that it's a big day for Odisha, he said, while the institute has already outperformed other IIMs in India in terms of gender diversity and inclusivity, the traditional rivers of iconic Sambalpuri clubbers will also benefit from the constructive windows facilitated by IIM Sambalpur. Gst EIR News, Bhubaneswar.
A nationwide dry run for COVID-19 vaccination will be conducted today. Dry run is essentially a practice session where a sample number of beneficiaries will go through a mock immunization process. The exercise is aimed at testing the preparedness for the vaccine rollout. Today's dry run will be conducted across all states and union territories. Each state and union territory has been asked to conduct the dry run at minimum 3 session sites. Apart from the staff of the designated vaccination centres, the dry run will see the participation of a select group of healthcare workers as test vaccine beneficiaries. Each centre will identify 25 test beneficiaries for the dry run. The mock drill will ensure that phase 1 of COVID-19 vaccination goes without any glitch. The dry run will test linkages between planning and implementation and to identify the challenges. The dry run will also test CoWIN application developed specifically for COVID-19 vaccination drive in a field environment. Health Minister Harshvardhan chaired a high-level meeting yesterday to review preparedness for the dry run. Speaking at the function, Dr. Harshvardhan said the purpose of the dry run is to identify the problems which can be rectified in the earlier stage.
जहाँ जहाँ हमें वैक्सीनेशन करने हैं, उन वैक्सीनेशन के जो साइट्स हैं, वैक्सीनेशन की जो टीम्स हैं, उन साइट्स के ऊपर जो माइन्यूट से माइन्यूट बातों को ख्याल करना है, हमारा पूरा का पूरा जो कोल्ड चेन का सिस्टम है, और फिर जहाँ पे हमारी वैक्सीन उस कोल्ड चेन में स्टोर होंगी, वहाँ पर स्पेस इत्यादि के इश्यूज हैं, टेम्परेचर है, बिजली है, ये सारे फैक्टर्स.
Head of the COVID Task Force and Niti Aayog member Dr. V.K. Paul said that the dry run of vaccination is important to ascertain the preparedness and operational functioning of COVID under actual circumstances.
पहली बारी इतना बड़ा वैक्सीन प्रोग्राम जो हम व्यस्त व्यक्तियों को देंगे शुरू होगा कोविड-19 के परिप्रेक्ष्य में. इसकी तैयारियां बहुत दिनों से चल रही हैं. जो प्रैक्टिकल गाइडलाइंस हैं कि एक वैक्सीन में एक्टिविटी कैसे होगी, बूथ किस तरह से सेटअप किया जाएगा, सेशन कैसे किया जाएगा, सेशन प्लानिंग कैसे होगी, कौन क्या करेगा, क्या डेटा देखा जाएगा. लेकिन ये तैयारी बिट्स एंड पीसेस में है. उसको चलते हुए देखना एज अ सीमलेस सिस्टम एंड अ सीमलेस अंडरटेकिंग, उसको टेस्ट करने के लिए अब ये प्रावधान किया है कि सारे देश में एक मॉक ड्रिल होगी या ड्राई रन होगा, जो हमें ये सब जितने स्टेप्स हैं उनको हम लागू करेंगे और देखेंगे कि कहाँ किस तरह से फर्दर इम्प्रूवमेंट की जरूरत है, जिसके बेस के ऊपर रिफाइनमेंट ऑफ स्ट्रेटजी किया जाए.
States are also augmenting the state helpline 104, which will be used in addition to 1075 for any vaccine-related query. Call center executives have been given an orientation on capacity building training. A 2-day trial run was earlier conducted on December the 28th and 29th in 4 states, Assam, Andhra Pradesh, Punjab and Gujarat. The planned operations and the laid out mechanism for the drive were successful then. Health and Family Welfare Ministry said all states expressed satisfaction in terms of the operational approach and use of IT platform to ensure transparency and effective monitoring of vaccination processes expected to cover a large number of people across the country.
The country's COVID-19 recovery rate has improved to 96.08% as more than 23,000 COVID patients recovered during the last 24 hours. The Health Ministry said the total number of recoveries has gone up to over 98,83,000. The actual caseload currently comprises only 2.47% of the total positive cases. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is around 2,54,000. During past 24 hours, 20,036 new cases were reported, taking the total number of positive cases in the country to over 1 crore 2 lakh. The ministry said, currently, India's case fatality rate is 1.45%, which is one of the lowest globally. During the last 24 hours, 256 deaths were reported, taking the toll to 1,48,994. Delhi reported 585 new cases of COVID-19 in the past 24 hours, taking the total count to 6,25,954. The metropolis reported 717 recoveries and 21 deaths yesterday. Total recoveries in the national capital are 6,10,039. The death toll has gone up to 10,557, while the city has 5,358 active cases. The cumulative positivity rate is 7.16%, while the case death rate is 1.69%.
Uttar Pradesh government has appealed to the people not to pay heed to rumours related to the new strain of COVID-19. Till date, only 2 patients in the states have been diagnosed with this new strain of coronavirus. State government will also test its COVID vaccination preparedness in a dry run today at 6 places. More from our Lucknow correspondent.
Additional Chief Secretary Health of State Amit Mohan Prasad informed that today state government will conduct dry run of COVID vaccination at 6 centers in Lucknow, while on January 5th it will be done in the entire state. He said that government is making all arrangements for the vaccination, which include expansion of COVID chain storage and installation of CCTV cameras at vaccination centers and places of vaccine storage. He said that the State Health Department has begun testing all people coming from the UK after December 9 for the new strain of the coronavirus, and there is no need to panic. Till date, more than 2,500 persons who had returned from UK recently have been tested and only 2 of them were found positive with the new strain of coronavirus. Meanwhile, fresh cases of COVID-19 has further come down to 871 in last 24 hours in state and the recovery rate has gone up to 96.21%. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
In Bihar, COVID-19 recovery rate has improved to 97.57%. This is 1.49% more than the national average. The number of active cases in the state is continuously declining. Currently, 4,765 patients are undergoing treatment at various hospitals. 2,47,089 patients have so far recovered from the infection in the state. Over 1,05,000 corona tests were carried out during the past 24 hours. Over 1 crore 84 lakh corona tests have been conducted in the state so far.
Gujarat has recorded 734 new cases of COVID-19 during the last 24 hours. The recovery rate has further improved to 94.32%. More from our Ahmedabad correspondent.
The total number of COVID-19 cases detected so far in Gujarat has reached up to 2,45,772. Out of these, 2,31,800 patients recovered. 907 patients recovered during the last 24 hours. More than 97,06,000 tests have been carried out in the state till date. Maximum 158 new cases reported from Ahmedabad, while Surat recorded 122 new cases. At present, total active cases in the state are 9,663, out of which 64 patients are on ventilator. 3 patients died yesterday, taking the total death due to COVID-19 up to 4,309. Yogesh Pandya, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
In Madhya Pradesh, the dry run for COVID vaccination will take place at 3 hospitals in the state capital today. More from our Bhopal correspondent.
State Immunization Officer Dr. Santosh Shukla informed that the dry run will take place at 3 centers, which includes Gandhinagar Health Center, Allen Medical College Kolar and Govindpura Health Center from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. 25 health workers will arrive for the vaccination at each of these centers. Team of 5 vaccine officers will be available at all the 3 centers. Representatives from WHO and UNICEF will also remain present as external monitors. Health Commissioner Dr. Sanjay Goyal informed that all proper arrangements of vaccination are in place as per prescribed protocol. Pooja Pivardhan, AIR News, Bhopal.
Karnataka reported 877 new COVID-19 positive cases during the last 24 hours. At the same time, 1,084 people were cured from the disease and discharged from various hospitals in the state. At present, 11,058 COVID patients are undergoing treatment across the state. Among them, 189 are in ICU. 6 COVID patients lost their lives and the total number of fatalities have increased to 12,096. More from our Bangalore correspondent.
A dry run of COVID-19 vaccination for frontline warriors will commence today in 5 districts in the state. Bangalore Urban, Mysuru, Belagavi, Shimoga and Kalaburgi districts are chosen for the dry run. In Bangalore Urban, 3 primary healthcare centers have been identified and in the remaining 4 districts, the dry run will be conducted in primary health centers, taluk hospitals and the district hospitals. The dry run is conducted to see the feasibility of the system before the actual vaccination starts. R. Murthy, AIR News, Bengaluru.
The Union Government has decided that flights between India and UK will resume from the 8th of January. Civil Aviation Minister Hardeep Singh Puri in a tweet said that operations of flights till 23rd of January will be restricted to 15 flights per week each for carriers of the 2 countries to and from Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore and Hyderabad only. The government had extended the temporary suspension of flights to and from the UK till 7th of January 2021. India had earlier banned UK flights on the 23rd of December till 31st of December 2020.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to lay foundation stone of permanent campus of IIM Sambalpur in Odisha this morning. Nationwide dry run for COVID-19 vaccination to be conducted today. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 96.08% in the country. Centre extends disability compensation to all serving employees if they get disabled in line of duty. GST collections touch all-time high of over 1 lakh crore rupees in December. And government decides to resume flights between India and the UK from 8th of January. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
The centre has decided to extend disability compensation to all serving employees if they get disabled in the line of duty while performing their service and are retained in service in spite of such disablement. This was announced by Minister of State for Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions, Jitendra Singh, yesterday. He said the move will particularly provide a huge relief to young Central Armed Police Force CAPF personnel like CRPF, BSF and CISF, since disability in performance of duties is generally reported in their case due to constraints of job requirement as well as hostile or difficult work environment. Dr. Singh said Narendra Modi government is making all efforts to simplify the rules and to do away with discriminatory clauses. The ultimate objective of all these new initiatives is to provide ease of living for the government servants even after they have superannuated and become pensioners or family pensioners or elder citizens. In another employee-friendly decision, the Ministry of Personnel recently did away with minimum qualifying service of 10 years for pension. Accordingly, the rule was amended to provide invalid pension at 50% of the last pay, even if the employee had not completed minimum qualifying service of 10 years. In addition to these, in yet another reform in the pension rules, a decision was also taken to amend the rules and provide pension at enhanced rate to the family of an employee who died during service before completing the requisite service of minimum 7 years. As a result, now, the family pension of 50% of the last pay is also admissible to the family of employees who die even before completing 7 years of service. More than 800 academics belonging to various universities and institutions have signed a petition lauding the progressive farm laws enacted by the central government. They said they had strongly believed in the government's assurance to the farmers to protect the farmers' livelihood and it will not take the food from their plate. They said that the government is firmly committed to delivering the principle of minimum government, maximum governance. They said they stand in solidarity with both the government and the farmers and salute their intense efforts. Government continues to procure kharif crops at MSP from farmers as per existing minimum support price schemes. Over 487.92 lakh metric tons of paddy has been procured so far, which is 24.93% more than the corresponding period last year. Out of the total purchase of 487.92 lakh metric tons, Punjab alone has contributed 202.77 LMT, which is 41.55% of total procurement. About 62.28 lakh farmers have already benefited from the ongoing kharif crop procurement, with MSP value of over 92,120 crore rupees.
GST revenue collection for last month has been recorded to be an all-time high since the implementation of the Goods and Services Tax in the country. The gross GST revenue collected in the month of December 2020 is 1,15,174 crore rupees. The revenue collected is 12% higher than the GST revenues in the corresponding period in the last financial year. The December 2020 revenues are significantly higher than the November's revenues, which was nearly 1,04,963 crore rupees. The Finance Ministry has informed that this is the highest growth in the monthly revenues since the last 21 months. It said this has been due to the combined effect of the rapid economic recovery post-pandemic and the nationwide drive against GST evaders and fake bills, along with many systemic changes introduced recently. In our special series Year Ender 2020, today we bring you a report on Ek Bharat, Shresht Bharat. After coming to power in 2014, Narendra Modi government has given a special focus on strengthening unity and integrity of the country. The initiative Ek Bharat, Shresht Bharat was announced by Prime Minister Modi on the 31st of October 2015 on the occasion of the 140th birth anniversary of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Speaking at an event, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had said that India's unparalleled diversity is our pride.
विविधताओं से भरा देश है. हमारा निरंतर प्रयास होना चाहिए एकता को बढ़ाने वाली चीजों को बल कैसे मिले, इन विविधताओं के साथ अपनापन कैसे बने. एक ही देश में रहने के बाद भी हमें अज्ञान होता है अपने ही देश के विषय में. इसलिए राज्यों से कहा गया है एक राज्य दूसरे राज्य के साथ एमओयू करे, पैर बनाए. अब जैसे तमिलनाडु, तमिल भाषा भारत के रिचनेस को ताकत देने वाली तमिल भाषा है, लेकिन हमारा कोई परिचय ही नहीं है. क्यों न हमारा कोई राज्य एक साल के लिए तमिल का 8 साल का एमओयू करे, हमारे उस राज्य के बच्चे 5 तमिल गीत सीखें, एक आध बार तमिल फिल्म फेस्टिवल उस राज्य में हो. भारत के इतने राज्य हैं, एक राज्य दूसरे राज्य से, जिसको जो राज्य ठीक लगे, जैसे हरियाणा ने तेलंगाना के साथ किया है, गुजरात ने शायद छत्तीसगढ़ के साथ किया हुआ है, किसी ने बंगाल के साथ किया है, किसी ने आसाम के साथ किया है. इसको हम बल दें और भारत की ये जो रिचनेस है इसको हम नजरअंदाज न करें. एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत कार्यक्रम को बल देना चाहिए. हमारे जैसे विविधता से भरे देश में आवश्यक है.
Our correspondent has more on the story.
Through this innovative measure, the knowledge of the culture, traditions and practices of different states and UTs are leading to an enhanced understanding and bonding between the states, thereby strengthening the unity and integrity of India. Ek Bharat, Shresht Bharat program aims to enhance interaction and promote a mutual understanding between the people of different states and union territories through the concept of state and UT pairing. The states carry out activities to promote a sustained and structured cultural connect in areas of language learning, culture, traditions and music, tourism and cuisines, sports and sharing of best practices. There is no country like India, quite as diverse, multilingual and multicultural, yet bound together by the ancient bonds of shared traditions, culture and values. Such bonds are being strengthened through Ek Bharat, Shresht Bharat. With Naseem Naqvi, Anupam Mishra, AR News, Delhi.
Rashtrapati Bhavan Museum Complex, which was closed for public viewing due to COVID-19 since 13th of March last year, will reopen from 5th of January. It will open on all days except on Monday and government holidays. Visitors can book their slots online by visiting websites presidentofindia.nic.in or rashtrapatisachivalaya.gov.in or rbmuseum.gov.in. A nominal registration charge of 50 rupees per visitor will be levied as earlier. On-the-spot booking facility, which was previously available, is temporarily suspended. In order to maintain the social distancing norms, 4 pre-booked time slots have been fixed from 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m., 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m., 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m., and 3:30 p.m. to 5 p.m. with a maximum limit of 25 visitors per slot. India has said its embassy in Beijing has repeatedly taken up the cases of MV Jug Anand and MV Anastasia with the Chinese side, requesting that the ships be allowed to dock and the crew be allowed to be changed. In response to a media query on status of the 2 ships, External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Anurag Srivastav said MV Jug Anand is on anchorage near Qingtang port in Hebei province of China, with 23 Indian nationals as crew on board. Another vessel, MV Anastasia, which has 16 Indian nationals as its crew, is on anchorage near Cofidian port in China. The New York Stock Exchange, NYSE, has said that it will delist 3 Chinese companies to comply with a U.S. executive order that imposed restrictions on companies that were identified as affiliated with the Chinese military. The process to delist 3 companies, China Mobile, China Telecom, and China Unicom Hong Kong, has started. These companies are involved in civilian and military production with money from US investors.
Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen has said that the cross-strait relations with China was no longer just a matter between the two sides of Taiwan Strait, but the whole international community. Speaking on the repeated intrusion of China's People's Liberation Army into Taiwan territory, she said that Taipei will uphold its principles only if Beijing wants to resolve differences in a peaceful manner. India and Pakistan have exchanged through diplomatic channels the list of civilian prisoners and fishermen in their custody. This is in keeping with the provisions of the 2008 agreement, under which such lists are exchanged every year on the 1st of January and 1st of July. India handed over lists of 263 Pakistan civilian prisoners and 77 fishermen in India's custody to Pakistan. Similarly, Pakistan has shared lists of 49 civilian prisoners and 270 fishermen in its custody who are Indians or believed to be Indians.
People living in North India are likely to get much-needed respite from the biting cold, as India Meteorological Department has forecast a significant rise in temperature tomorrow. IMD said temperatures are likely to increase gradually by 3 to 5 degrees Celsius in Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, Delhi, western Uttar Pradesh and northern Rajasthan during the next 3 days. However, there is also a likelihood of heavy snow and rainfall in Jammu and Kashmir next week.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. In Srinagar, the sky will be mainly clear and becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Temperature will hover between -5 degrees and 7 degrees Celsius. In Jammu, the minimum temperature was 4 degrees Celsius, while maximum will be 16 degrees Celsius. The city will have mainly clear sky. Leh will have mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature was -15 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be -1 degree. Gilgit will have partly cloudy sky. The temperature will hover between -3 degrees Celsius to 9 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The temperature will move between 1 to 15 degrees Celsius. In Dehradun, the temperature will hover between 5 and 21 degrees Celsius. The city will have partly cloudy sky with possibility of development of thunder and lightning. Chandigarh will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The temperature is likely to hover from 7 to 18 degrees Celsius. In Hyderabad, the minimum temperature was 16 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be 28 degrees. The city witnessed fog and mist in the morning and is expected to have partly cloudy sky later. Ahmedabad will have clear sky. The minimum temperature was 17 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be 25 degrees Celsius. Patna experienced fog and mist in the morning and will have mainly clear sky during the day. The temperature will move between 7 degrees Celsius to 22 degrees Celsius. And in Guwahati, fog or mist occurred early during the morning and the minimum temperature was 9 degrees Celsius, while maximum will be 25 degrees Celsius.
And now, an overview of today's newspapers. Beginning the new year on an optimistic note, most newspapers have headlined their front pages with the promising news of the clearance of the COVID Shield vaccine for India. Happy Vaccine Year, exalts Hindustan Times. Happy New Year, expert panel clears Oxford vaccine for India, reports the Times of India. The Economic Times reports New Year, New Hope, SEC OK's SII vaccine. Economic recovery gaining ground has also been highlighted prominently by the newspapers. The Business Standard reports GST mop-up at record high surges to rupees 1.5 trillion in December. The Economic Times adds economists see strong GDP rebound in 2021. Calendar year growth pegged at 7.7 to 9.2%. Business sentiment may remain uneven. The Times of India reports on its front page that the Army has created a human rights cell headed by a Major General for greater transparency and probity in its functioning in areas like Jammu and Kashmir and the Northeast. And finally, the Financial Express informs Microsoft says SolarWinds hackers accessed its source code, which is the underlying set of instructions that run a piece of software or operating system.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to lay foundation stone of permanent campus of IIM Sambalpur in Odisha this morning. Nationwide dry run for COVID-19 vaccination to be conducted today. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 96.08% in the country. centre extends disability compensation to all serving employees if they get disabled in the line of duty. GST collections touch all-time high of over 1 lakh crore rupees in December, and government decides to resume flights between India and UK from the 8th of January. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.